I'm Claire Monroe, and I'm going to be getting into the 3 things that I think are underrated when you are packing to travel with only one bag. First, I want to talk about the bag that I'm using and kind of what I like and I don't like about this bag, so that hopefully when you look for a bag, you kind of figure out the features that you want in your bag. By the way, I'm not sponsored by them to say any of this. This is just my honest feedback for it. I have the Oxna bag from Arcido, if I'm saying that right. But I used this bag for the 3 months that I was actually traveling in Mexico, which I kind of really learned what I liked and what I didn't like about this bag. But the great thing about this bag is that it does fit underneath all the planes and buses that I've been on. It has been really convenient because then I don't have to pay for the carry-on fee, which is a big thing I think traveling with one bag really provides, is that you don't have to spend a lot of extra money to carry a few extra things. Now here's what I like. I like that there is a handle on the side that you could carry it like a briefcase, or the handle on top, because when I'm on the airplane and I need to get going and catch my next flight, it has been very useful because I can't always just throw it over my shoulder right away without like just hitting somebody in the face, and I don't really want to deal with the altercation like that. And it also makes it really easy to pull out from underneath the seats and just get on my way. Another thing is the zippers have little spots on them that you can put a lock through and lock your zippers. For me, I don't like walking around with my giant bag. It blends in enough, but it always makes me a little bit nervous carrying that much stuff with me, especially when it's my only bag. And so having those zippers makes me have a little bit better peace of mind when I'm out on public transit, because then I know nobody can really get into it without really stealing my whole entire bag. And I think I would notice if somebody stole my whole entire bag. Another thing is the compression straps. Those are really nice because it keeps all my stuff from moving around. They do tend to slide it down, but that kind of seems to happen with any bag when you set it up, and it just makes it really easy for me to make sure that I stack everything that I need and then kind of compress it down before I fully zip it all up. So a big reason why I ended up getting this bag was because I wanted to bring my computer along, and one of the big draws for me with getting this bag was that the laptop pouch was a lot more padded. It makes it really easy going through the airport when you need to take it out. Having that spot and I know my computer is protected is really, really nice for me. The last thing I will say is that is pretty nice is there is a little chest strap that goes across, and it is magnetic and it just clicks together, which I really like because there's a lot of times I'll throw on my bag, and as long as I get them close to each other, it just automatically clips where I don't have to fully clip and everything, and it's really easy to undo. So I like the convenience of how quick it is. So here's also my dislikes with this bag. One thing that if somebody else who had this bag, the elastic of where your water bottle is supposed to be is not very stretchy, especially when your bag is really filled out. It tends to be really hard for me to put my 16-ounce water bottle in that pocket without feeling like I'm going to completely just rip that pocket. If you have a big water bottle, you would not be able to use this bag, because even if you try to use the front little mesh area, that also doesn't stretch that well. I could probably put in a like jacket, and sometimes I put my sandals in the front there, but that's really all you can keep in there. There's not much that else you could put in there because it's just so tight. Another thing that I kind of struggle with this bag is the shape of the bag. So I don't know if you guys could really see, but the bottom kind of goes straight down and then it goes out kind of like a coffin does, and then goes back in. That spot has been kind of really tricky on trying to actually put enough stuff in there that I actually feel like I'm using all that space. It's nice when it stands up, don't get me wrong, it just is kind of frustrating when I can't use all the area in my bag when I only have one bag, and being able to put things in those areas is super important. Okay, so if I had to pick one thing that I am the most do not like about this bag, it has to be the tech pouch. The organization little section on the side I never use that little organization pouch area except for putting my pins off to the side in it and then maybe having my passport in there. But other than that, I can't really utilize any of it because if I put something in there that kind of portrays out, well, my computer's next to it and I have something protruding, then that means the middle of my screen's going to be pushed inwards, whereas the other sides have a little bit more area to kind of go out. And I really do not want to break my laptop screen. So for me, it just kind of is unnecessary to have in there. And I can't use it. I love organization, but I can't use it in the fear that I will destroy my computer. But other than that, it's a pretty good bag. It's held up for a while now and I'll keep using it because it's the bag I have. I'm able to store everything that I need in it, which is very important. I recorded all the stuff that I ended up putting into the bag before I left. And when you look at my bag and it's all packed up, it honestly doesn't look like very much until you lay it all out. If you want, I can make a different video on kind of why I brought what I did and even just kind of what I brought in general. If you guys want to see that, let me know down in the comments so that I can figure a few things out and get that video to you. Now it's the time that you guys have been waiting for, and I'm going to be listing the 3 things that I feel like are underrated, especially when I packed for the first time. The first thing is a hat. Okay, hear me out on this one. I know a lot of you will think that a hat isn't very important, at least that's how I felt when I first was traveling to Mexico. And I was very wrong. I don't know if other women are that way, but I never really had a hat, and so I never really thought about it. When I was in Mexico, I noticed that I could barely stay outside for a very long period of time. I felt bad how many times I had to tell my boyfriend, hey, we gotta go back. I'm not feeling good. I can't be out in the sun right now. Then we went out and we bought a bucket hat for each of us, and that was a game changer. I was able to stay out for longer periods of time because the sun, if you didn't know, if it's hitting your face, it drains you of your energy. Who would have thought? So we bought the hats and I was able to stay out for longer. I didn't have to worry about sunscreen on my face as much, which that honestly was a nice thing because my face was shaded and I didn't have to worry about it. If you're gonna be somewhere sunny, a hat is extremely important in my opinion, so that you can actually be outside longer and enjoy yourself and not constantly have to go back to a room that you're staying in. All right, the second thing is a cloth grocery bag. Again, hear me out on this one. This item has been such a savior for both me and my boyfriend. Yes, you use the grocery bag to transport groceries and go to the grocery store, but you could also use it for like a dirty laundry hamper. You could use it for just carrying random stuff. I don't know how many times that we have gone from one like hostel to an Airbnb or Airbnb to hostel, and we had stuff to bring. One thing that I have noticed is you will kind of accumulate a few things that you didn't pack and you decided that you need to have. Like, we didn't pack sunscreen and we were like, oh, we need sunscreen. Well, because we had packed not knowing we needed that stuff, we didn't have a place to put it. If we didn't have the cloth grocery bag, which we ended up buying from a store because we didn't want to keep paying for plastic bags, we were able to use it to actually bring it with us and go to different locations with it. And it was so useful that I highly recommend bringing it with, because it takes up such a small area, especially if you can fold it down. I'm not meaning like a really heavy duty type of bag. I'm just saying just like kind of like a cloth one that you know you could carry a few things in and you don't have to worry about it ripping. I never had thought about that, but as soon as I packed for this next trip, that's the first thing I grabbed. And then lastly, number 3. Micro carabiners that lock. I originally had a lock for my bag. When walking around, that honestly did worry me that somebody would end up taking my bag because I have something so important, I need a lock for it. But with these micro carabiners that lock, now I can lock up my bag, and unless if somebody fully takes my bag, they aren't going to be able to get into it right away, which is very important to me because having stuff that I do not want stolen. I don't think anybody does, but All it really does is it looks like I really like carabiners and I like to style my bag a little bit, which then makes me fit in a little bit better than standing out, which for me, I think when traveling, sometimes fitting in and not standing out is a little bit better if you want to keep your things secure or have a peace of mind. Well, those were the 3 things that I think are underrated when you are packing for one bag traveling. And I hope you kind of learned a few things in this video that you can use later on if you decide to go on one bagging, or maybe even if it's just your daily commute, that you find these things probably a little bit useful. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!